3 or 4 days, I've had the thing we talked about where just like a record came together in my imagination. It came from... so I sent the first 2 tracks for the next Dharmic Beams record over to Daniel, and somehow in thinking about that and not the one we're working on, but what like could be the next one, I was just thinking about some songs I'd started for an Orbital Debris project with Royce and Nate that never really came to fruition. And then I made this connection between one of those songs and a Sneaky Snakes song that you and I worked on that just like didn't fit with the other bunch. It's kind of the Nine Inch Nails one. And I realized like, oh, those 2 could go together and be this like early 90s flood produced concept thing, and maybe just a double single or something, but I wonder what else I have that could go with that. So I started going through and, just pulled 2 things from Howie and Scott and 2 things from Mars Lights and whatever, and some weird echoey stuff, and like I've sketched out vocal ideas for like 4 of the songs that didn't have vocals before, just scrambled eggs stuff, just a melody and no words, but it's the start, and amid all the like super shitty job stuff, it's felt incredible to see a record coming together. And in a way, like, it sounds crazy with like 2 unfinished Mars Lights records and 3 unfinished MS Ride records, but like, I didn't know where I was going guitar wise after this MS Ride stuff, and now I can kind of see the next thing, and it feels really great. That's me sending a voice memo to my guest, Cory Kibler, back in September. What's going on, Cory?
Hey.
Do you remember that voice memo now that you've heard it back?
Totally do. Yep. Yeah, like there have been a few like that where usually it's email, but I'll get a message from you and sometimes others, but you frequently, where you kind of like mention the beginning, the germination of a project or something like that. And it's interesting. Like I usually, if I see it again, it's because I'm looking for something else in my email, but I'll find the original email from you talking about it. And I'll be like, holy hell, he did it. They all said it couldn't be done, but it's neat.
That
it's neat
crazy
to see that
bastard did it again.
Yeah. Come back to like come together. I mean, it always does. And sometimes I know your projects take like years, like depending on what it is. But you're always working on something and they're kind of staggered.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of flesh that out a little bit and tell that story. And I have a takeaway that I'll cut to, and the takeaway and the context for that voice memo is just like how important I think it is to have downtime to go through your ideas. For me, it's, weekend mornings a lot. Saturday morning, I'm here in the studio, which is also the laundry room. And, kind of once I've had a cup of coffee and looked through the news, sometimes just flipping through demos or, I don't know, kind of, it's not quite daydreaming, but it's very kind of unstructured thought. You might do it in the shower, or while you're driving. I just think that time to not have an entertainment going is so important. So yeah, the context for this breakthrough on this album that I pulled together from different demos where there hadn't been an album before, and I didn't know what I was going to do with guitar after finishing the giant double album I'm working on. But like I said in the voice memo, I've started to generate the raw material for the next Dharmic Beams project, and I had done the first 2 tracks for that with my Lep Loop synthesizer, which is a little Groovebox laptop boy, and sent those off to Daniel. And I was going through, as he had done on the first one, I was kind of going through my B-sides, or like not even B-sides yet, like unstructured, like demos, ideas, back to that Nate and Royce project, because that was kind of dancey and electronic a little bit, and thinking if I could use some of that stuff. And I thought, like, yeah, like 5 of these will work, but 1 will not.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, so that that one that will not fit with Dharmic beams actually sounds like this one Sneaky Snakes demo that you and I had worked on like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But there's this early 90s commonality, and that just started the snowball rolling down the hill, and one thing led to another, and got me hearing these connections between my ideas that had been in like 5 separate pots prior to that one kind of breakthrough. And it not only then after the voice memo, and I had sketched out some vocal ideas for songs that didn't have vocal ideas, that also clarified Sneaky Sneaky Snakes, the punk project, a little bit, and I collected some of those songs that have vocals and wrote a couple more. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of the story, but again, it all comes from having some unstructured time to think and listen and imagine and daydream. Do you get that kind of time? I imagine it's harder for you with a family.
Family stuff does make it a little harder. I think my struggle has always been actually the entertainment thing that you mentioned. When I have any free time, like truly free time, not like folding laundry or doing dishes or whatever, but like where I'm like, oh wow, I don't have anything to do. The strongest urge I have is usually to read. Like I've usually got a book going that I'm like really eager to get back to. And I kind of have to like not be burned out on reading, but I kind of have to like not have anything else that I'd rather do or something like that before I start like working on something. Either that or I really have to like schedule that time. Mm-hmm. So like when I was trying to finally finish doing my first edit on the book that I wrote, it only happened because I took time off from work and spent like 3 days just being like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm very bad at just being like, oh, I'm going to work on some music and picking up a guitar and like making headway. I might goof around and I might get some ideas and record some ideas on my phone. And I might even come up with like a song basically, but I'm not going to push it any further than that unless I block it out. And that is hard for me, I guess, just because, I don't know. It seems like I am busy a lot, but also I'm just very easily like distracted, or I don't know. Like I like the passive reading, doing a puzzle, doing a crossword, something like that is like where I feel like I need to go after doing all the adult stuff.
Yeah. Now, in this specific case with what I'm talking about, I think it's more analogous to what you're saying about doing a little demo, maybe coming up with a song. And so actually folding the laundry or kind of coming at it sideways, not focusing in on it, but actually having something to occupy my conscious mind a little bit so that the unconscious can do its work is more what this particular experience was about, I think. I mean, it's back and forth, of course. There's an interplay. But it was this really happy accident of, like, the key moment was going through those orbital debris, unused ideas, and having that moment of one of these things is not like the other. Oh, but wait, it is like this other thing from this other bucket that I had never put those two and two together before.
So I think not your secret, but the way you operate that helps so much is that, and you've talked about this time and time again, when you are working on music, I mean, it is working, like you are making progress or whatever. But I feel like your MO is you just like messing around with music. You just like goofing around on a guitar, you're like messing around on a synthesizer, and for you it starts out as play, or I'm just goofing and there's no goals. And if I don't come up with a song or an album from messing around with this, that's okay. And I feel like when you are uninhibited like that and approach it, then things come naturally. And then, like you said, when you're doing something else, then questions you have about an arrangement or about vocal ideas or whatever sort of coalesce. I feel like because I'm so bad at finishing things, I feel like I have to come at it almost in a way of like, I have to have something to show for this time or something like that, I guess. Or like, I don't know. I try not to. I try to be more spontaneous about it. I mean, some of the favorite songs that I've ever written have come out of like a jam session before or after a band practice. And so I know it can happen, and it does, but I feel like I'm so far behind with music or something that it's hard for me to come at it with that unstructured, playful mode. Because what ends up happening when I do that, I think, is that I have like 40 half-baked iPhone demos in a Google Drive folder, but I haven't finished any of it. You know what I mean? It's almost like when I come at it playfully, then I get excited and I do a thing and I get it done enough that I'm like, yeah, I get the gist. And then I'm not like, oh, I better finish that or something like that. I don't know. It's like, it's why it's been helpful for me to be in bands with people who are like finishers, I guess, or like people who are like, all right, let's get this to the goal line or something like that. Not in a type A bossy sort of way, but just like, okay, we have all the things we need, everything we need. Let's just do it. Just put it together, which won't take that much work.
What does it feel like to you to have that Google Drive folder full of 40 pretty good ideas? Does that weigh on you, or is that exciting, or is it neutral?
A little bit of both. Mostly it weighs on me just because I feel like the idea that like all through my life, anytime I've written a cool idea or come up with a cool song, up until, let's say 10 years ago or 5 years ago or something, I'd always eventually recorded it and released it. And I think that documentation of it is what's really important. Like I've told you this before, but one of my favorite thing about doing music is listening to a recording of what I've written afterward, like not performing it, not practicing it, but listening to it and being like, yeah, this sounds great. And it's out there. It's like documented. And so the idea of me never finishing any of those really bums me out. If I didn't finish all of them, that would be okay, because probably about a third or half or something that was like a fun exercise, but nothing that like inspires me to write a full song out of it. But I would say at least like, 10 to 15 of them are like honest to goodness, real good ideas that if I just put some time into, I could finish it. But I think like when I think about it, it's like, okay, I'd have to go in there, listen to all of them, then really think about it and think about which ones make sense and which ones don't. And I'm so bad at choosing, and the more options there are, the worse I get. And I know what I need to do. I know I need to just start small and be like, how about one song? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, that's not hard. There's one song that I've never played for you or sent you the demo or anything like that. I love this idea. I get it stuck in my head all the time. And the main reason I haven't even recorded a full official demo of it is because I have to remember how to play it on guitar. And it was a weird one. And I just have to sit down and figure it out. But I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's like that's the only obstacle.
Right. No, that does kind of suck figuring out. Actually, this song I was playing like over the call before we started recording is one. I'm gonna have to do that with that song. And there's a lot of chords in that song.
And it's like, I know with that kind of thing, like there's probably apps that can do it for me, or it would probably take, like, once it snapped in, I'd be like, and then what I need to do is, instead of recording it, I need to, like, film myself playing it, because my ear is not good enough that I can hear it and be like, oh, I know what I'm playing. It's not like that. It's like a visual thing, like the shape of my hand on the fretboard.
Cool. So this is it's cool to keep having these conversations, because I would not have been able to say about you that, like, listening to that finished recording is your main thing. After all these years, I wouldn't necessarily have known that was it. So that's why we keep having the conversation, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the most fun part about making music, the most fun I've had making music has been just being with friends and working with friends on it. Like, that's the most rewarding part. And if all the recordings melted and I never got them again, it would still be worthwhile because of that. But, like, just my own personal favorite part, definitely not recording. Recording's fine. I don't hate it like I used to when I first started recording, because it was so tedious, or I had to, like, perform well or whatever. But more than recording, more than practicing and all that. Yeah, exactly. Hipsters. But, like, now, like, going back to listen to never forget hipsters. God damn it. Anyway, but, like, listening to, like, the chorus on Sloppy Jingle or something like that, just going, yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. Super satisfying.
I like that one. So you may talk about this anyway, but just to make sure that you talk about it, where, for the benefit of listeners especially, where is the project now?
The project the voice memo is about is just a pile of demos in iTunes.
Okay.
And it will remain that way until I finish Jam My Wave. I listen to it occasionally. I may add, if I come up with another vocal idea, I'll demo it and add it to the folder and whatever. But serious work will not start until sometime after Jam My Wave is out. And I don't even know. It's very different than a Dharmic Beams record. It is a song record, and I want to be the primary artist on it, so it is probably not a Dharmic Beams record, but I have talked to Daniel about kind of producing it with me and adding parts and having a lot of input. I kind of would like a partner producer on it versus a solo thing, but I do want to remain kind of the final say on all this stuff. So I think Daniel and I, our musical relationship is at a point where we could do that and have kind of both modes going on.
Yeah. How many songs do you have right now?
Enough. I mean, I've got an LP, but it's a single LP with some big, like, tentpole songs and some much more, like, interlude-y songs. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big tentpole songs and 4 lighter interlude, single chord progression, almost Cool Drugs kind of. A very different vibe, but just, like, much simpler, maybe only 2 sections or something, maybe only 1 section. So it'll be a much tighter kind of 40-minute, maybe 45-minute focused LP compared to Jam My Wave, which is a giant sprawling everything ever. But thanks for asking. Thanks for talking about it with me. Listeners, please rate, review, share, like, subscribe, smash the bell, and we'll see you next week on Dat Fury Radio. Hey, Coop.